RCADT is pleased to invite you to participate in the course. Holistic Demand Chain Optimization or Scientific Marketing. Value Chain Optimization or Enterprise-Wide Optimization. Operations research uses the scientific method to address organizational problems, focusing on providing management with a mathematical basis for decision-making. It is not a science, but more the application of science, logic, mathematics, statistics, and various theories to managerial and administrative problems. It focuses on organized systems, using interdisciplinary teams of scientists and engineers. Operational research began in 1937 in Britain and developed in countries such as Australia, Canada, France, and the United States. I invite you to watch the video. Applied Operations Research and Industrial Engineering and learn more about AWO. A company's value chain is made up of two chains, strongly interrelated. Demand chain determines all the processes that are carried out to attract customers in the markets, and supply chain determines all the processes that are carried out to produce the products that customers want to consume. The diagram presents the chain of the company's production chains that together make up the value chain. One of the greatest evolutions in the modeling of companies occurs in the interpretation of their value chain. The diagram presents the evolution of different administrative practices in companies, which are linked to technological solutions, leading to AWO. Thanks to computational power, the integration process has continued to grow. The diagram presents the original S&OP model, and the current version, which integrates more and more models. This evolution has led to modeling based on artificial hypothalamus, supported by the integration of mathematical programming and artificial intelligence. The power of today's technology is not in the mathematical calculations it allows to be performed, it is in the mathematical calculations we can imagine we can perform. Structure. The group of courses aims to train the participant in the main problems that need to be solved in the planning and advanced programming of value chains specific to industrial engineering, and more generally to engineering. It is made up of 4 courses in applied operations research. Industrial supply chains. Agro-industrial supply chains. Demand chains, and transport and logistics chains. Courses can be taken all in a group or individually, depending on the student's interest. Demand chain optimization. Training in the problem of optimizing the demand chain for industrial products and services, focusing on the characterization of demand, mainly its elasticities, knowledge of the competition, market share, and the decision-making process in such a way that it affects the process of driving demand, with the aim of producing greater economic gains. The following types of mathematical models are studied. Demand forecasting, market potential, market share projection, optimization of the marketing mix and market share, price optimization, revenue management, inventory policies, and product portfolio management. Considering the digital transformation of companies, it includes the modeling of social networks with the aim of knowing the behavior of customers and relating them to digital marketing and e-marketplaces. Planning driving demand? Or demand driving planning? The first decision in any general problem of a company is to define its strategy. In this case you must choose between demand driving planning, demand controlled by the buyer, who decides the demand to be satisfied by the seller. The buyer defines the market. Or planning driving demand? Demand controlled by the seller who decides the optimal demand to satisfy and how to do it. The buyer adapts to the market. Demand driving planning. Demand driven is a term invented in 2002 by PeopleSoft, which was and still is defined as detect changing customer demand, then adapt planning and production to serve customers, while extracting customer insights to meet customer desires. Under this approach, the organization's demand planning is done by the market, which determines what the organization should produce. Planning driving demand. The term is used by HI to name its approach to integrated supply chain and demand planning. It can be defined as demand controlled by the seller, or by the producer, who decides from the potential demand what should be satisfied and how to do it. Under this approach, demand planning is carried out by the organization, which decides what to offer to the market, taking potential demand as a reference, but deciding optimally and autonomously which demand is profitable to satisfy. Selling for the sake of selling doesn't have to be good business. Optimization of demand chains. The first step in the demand forecasting process is to select the databases that will be used in the process. There are three types of databases available. Those of the company itself. Syndicated databases, which are provided by third parties, whose function is to measure market behavior. An example of such databases is Nielsen, which analyzes the market for mass products, and other databases, which provide information on variables exogenous to the company, but which affect the market. For example, climate-related databases. In the future process, you need to consider the collection of data from new entities entering the market, for example, customers, zones, products, and more. After selecting the databases, the data must be cleaned, which can be done through artificial intelligence tools, such as DEA, data envelopment analysis. It can be said that forecasting models are born with multivariate linear regression models. However, the proliferation of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and advanced probabilistic modeling methodologies has led to the process being more complex, but much more effective. The goal is to have the best market segmentation, and the best models for that market. The results of the demand model serve as input for other mathematical models that support decisions in multiple functional areas of the organization, whether it is demand chain management or supply chain management. The central idea is to manage demand, to capture most of the social surplus. It's about having a company that manages demand, rather than a demand-driven company. Forecasting models produce a lot of information, but to capitalize on that information, they are required to feed optimization models that produce decisions. Their most widespread use is that they serve as an input for the following models: SANDOP, Sales and Production Planning, and Definition of Inventory Policies. If we look at the demand chain, forecasting models should feed into scientific marketing and sales management models. These tactical models are: Market Share Optimization, optimizes market attention, considering models that explain the market share of products in the regions. Marketing Mix Optimization, optimizes the distribution of marketing expenses in the different alternatives, considering the elasticities of the different media, and Inventory Policies. As a complement, there are models for operations. Revenue Management, also known as pricing optimization, determines dynamic pricing policies for products throughout their life cycle and over time seasonality. Customer Management, artificial intelligence models aimed at determining the behaviors of groups of customers, or specific people. Product Portfolio Management, intended to support salespeople's sales work, at times when they need to serve customers, and Campaign Optimization, the optimization of product promotion activities, can be considered as part of marketing mix models. When we talk about enterprise-wide optimization, it is seen as a set of models associated with hierarchical levels of decision-making and traditionally linked to the flow of information from individual models that coordinate with each other. This vision does not include a single integrated model for all processes. The diagram presents a simple overview of the models that are part of the demand chain. These are the guide to the models that will be studied in the course. Marketing optimization. It consists of two steps. Demand projection. This model, based on artificial intelligence methodologies, is the core of the company's demand chain planning, as it is the support for the optimization models. It focuses on obtaining the best explanation of the demand process from a generic statistical model, which includes the effects of the different sources of variation, which affect consumption. Its purpose is to characterize probabilistically the dynamic behavior of demand, that is, customers plus competition. It includes multiple effects: seasonal, price, weather, promotions, competition, marketing campaigns, etc., plus those that the end user considers adding value in the estimation of demand. Production and sales planning. From the point of view of organizational management, it can be said that the demand model and the production and sales (SAND-OP) model are the brains of the organization. The way these two models are handled is the cornerstone of successful planning. A very good demand forecast, followed by regular production planning, or regular demand prediction followed by very good production planning, will put the organization at risk. The modeling effort must be done in both directions. Marketing optimization corresponds to a stochastic optimization process, in which the two previous methodologies must be synchronized. Predictive analytics must produce two models: the characterization of the market, customers and competition, and synthetic generation of random scenarios. Prescriptive analytics produces a stochastic optimization model to determine the decisions to be optimized, taking as input the synthetic scenarios produced by predictive analytics. In this case, it's all about optimizing inventory policies.
Caracterización de la demanda. La caracterización de la demanda está orientada a soportar el estudio del comportamiento de la demanda en función del tiempo, la estacionalidad, los sistemas de promociones, los precios o todos los factores que pueden impactar el modo de consumo de los clientes finales. Con la finalidad de producir proyecciones de demanda en el corto/mediano plazo y de alimentar los modelos de optimización estocástica de planificación de la cadena de oferta, supply chain. Curvas de demanda utilizadas en los procesos de optimización de listas de precios, sistemas de promociones, pedido sugerido. Para ello se requieren modelos de programación matemática que permitan calcular las elasticidades de la demanda con respecto a los diferentes tipos de efectos, de forma tal de utilizar dicha información en los procesos de gestión de la demanda comanda para estimación de parámetros. Existen múltiples metodologías matemáticas para enfrentar el problema. Modelos estadísticos convencionales, mínimos cuadrados, Aremax, Garch. Modelos estadísticos dinámicos bayesianos. Estimación de estado, filtro de Kalman y sus variaciones. Inteligencia artificial, redes neuronales, y metodologías híbridas, resultado de la mezcla de dos o más de las metodologías mencionadas.
Revenue management is a concept that corresponds to a set of mathematical programming models aimed at solving pricing problems, determination of optimal sales prices, and promotion systems, identifying sales prices that adjust to the conditions of variability of demand and are appropriate for each market segment. Thus, seeking the integral maximization of utility. In addition, thanks to the flexibility of the models, different factors can be considered, such as discounts, variable product costs, fixed order costs, and transportation costs. Marketing mix optimization converts the information from the analysis of historical records of user sales, characterization of demand. Its objective is to help decision makers determine the decisions that maximize the profit derived from the management of marketing and sales events, respecting market constraints, allocated budgets, and trade rules.
Optimización de la gestión del portafolio de productos. La función de los modelos orientados al denominado optimización del pedido sugerido, OPS, es asignar el portafolio de productos que cada canal ofrece a cada cliente, o grupo de clientes, en el corto plazo, nivel diario o tiempo real. El modelo OPS tiene como condición de frontera el estado de las ventas por cliente, los cupos de financiación del cliente, las metas de producción de corto plazo, y el estado de los inventarios. Hoy en día, este tipo de modelo está orientado a apoyar el marketing digital.
Market share, MS, modeling. To build a quantitative mathematical model of the market share of a brand or a manufacturer, there are several approaches. Let's consider the two main ones that are based on relating the MS to manufacturer marketing efforts. Consumer attraction/preference. The two approaches are intimately related, as the manufacturer's marketing efforts seek to capture consumer appeal. The theory is presented in terms of the market share of manufacturers, being similar in the case of specific brands and products. Mathematical models seek to establish a causal relationship between the MS and the components of the manufacturer's marketing mix. The course director is the founder and scientific director of RCADT. Engineer Velázquez Bermudez's experience in applied operations research dates back to 1972, which means that he has accumulated more than 50 years solving real-world problems, doing engineering consulting using mathematical models. This is the technology transfer that those attending the course will receive. The table presents the plan of planned topics for the Demand Chain Optimization module. RCADT is the most applied academic center in the integration of the teaching of mathematical programming and artificial intelligence. For more information you can consult the URL. Alfred North Whitehead affirmed, "Algebra is the intellectual instrument which has been created for rendering clear the quantitative aspects of the world." Thank you for your attention.